Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay, and I am the Bucks believer. Today's game was a whole lot of fun, and it was certainly not lacking in offensive fireworks, as both teams really had it going on that end of the court, and it ended up culminating in what was a really fun 129-125 victory for the Bucks over the New Orleans Pelicans. Today's stat of the day is the 24 points from this guy right here, Donte DiVincenzo. That is actually his career high, as it passes his previous career high of 19, and he added on what matched a career high of 9 assists. Donte has really had to step into a bit of a different role with Jrue Holiday being out, and in today's game, he looked as comfortable in that role as he has all season. He was taking on a little bit of an extra job as a slasher, and there were multiple drives in this game in which he looked really comfortable taking some contact and going up for a really tough finish through his defender. That, alongside his pretty solid shooting, he was 4 for 7 from beyond the arc today, also was able to get in the mid-range. He ended off his last bucket of the day with a really nice floater. He got to the free throw line one time and knocked down both of those free throws. Donte brought it all on the scoring aspect, and as I said, with those 9 assists, he also did really nice job with the playmaking. A lot of that came in the pick and roll. He threw a couple lobs to Giannis. There were a couple situations in which he found shooters on the perimeter, but a couple of his passes today were genuinely really impressive. The standout had to be the play in which he was diving out of bounds to save the ball, threw it in between his legs to Chris Middleton for a layup, but there were a couple other reads Donte made in which he found a backdoor cutter going to the basket and made a really nice pocket pass to find his guy for an easy layup. I was super impressed with Donte in this game, and if he can continue to play at this type of level, it really takes this Bucks team to a new place, and it allows them to truthfully be a main competitor for this title. However, even though this was Donte's career high in scoring, he was far from the leader in points for the Bucks tonight. That would fall to Giannis Antetokounmpo. But first, I want to touch on the other Buck, in Chris Middleton, who also added 30 points in this one. Chris had 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists on 14 for 24 shooting, and for the second game out of his past 3, he passed that 30-point mark. In this one, Chris looked super comfortable throughout. He was getting to his spots. He was knocking down open looks. He also knocked down 2 of his 4 3-point attempts. And overall, just was really, really comfortable and took what the Pelicans gave him on the offensive end of the court. He's been in a bit of a slump lately, and this, along with that performance a couple games ago that came against the Oklahoma City Thunder, start to cue me into the fact that perhaps he's going to be able to bounce back and start playing the way he did before. Tonight, Coach Mike Budenholzer made a bit of an adjustment. In Jrue Holiday's absence, Chris Middleton has taken on a lot of the minutes with the bench mob that Holiday had previously occupied. But in this one, Giannis was playing those minutes where he was surrounded by 4 bench players. And I think that really helped Chris, as he was tasked with a little bit less of that shot creation stuff, and instead he was mostly able to focus on just being a scorer while he's on the court at the same time as either Giannis or Donte at all times. So overall, this was a fantastic game from Chris, and I hope that he can keep it up, as the Bucks certainly need him to be playing at top-notch levels in order for them to succeed. The leading scorer in this one was Giannis, as I said before, and he was absolutely terrific, putting up a double-double with a whopping 38 points and 10 rebounds. He was 14 for 27 from the field and made 8 of his 10 free throws. There were a couple times in this game where Giannis was scoring out of a post-up or a face-up from the mid-range area, pretty much the free throw line extended, and that is what I like to see as a Bucks fan, because teams are going to build the wall. As Stan Van Gundy would say, the Pelicans coach, build an effing wall, to avoid the expletive there, but Giannis has to find a way to deal with that being built, and in this one, he was able to get into that mid-range and create some open looks for himself going to the basket. And that's certainly promising, because it's a way to get around the wall concept, as I said before, and I hope to see him continue to keep that up. On the other side of the court, we had the other 2021 All-Star in this game, and that would be Zion Williamson. Zion had a terrific first half in which he piled up 24 points. He also was 11 for 15 from the field in that half and was looking absolutely terrific. Zion's ability to score in such a variety of ways is what really makes him interesting as a young player who, in my opinion, has the potential to be one of the best, if not the single best, player in the league someday. And it's just so impressive what he's able to do. Whether it's as a roller in the screen and roll, whether it's as an attacker off the dribble, whether it's as someone who's just standing in the dunker spot and catching a lob, Zion is always a threat to score the basketball, and that is what makes him also lethal. The area in which I was most impressed with Williamson, however, had to be his playmaking. It seems like he always makes the right decision, and he made a couple very key kickout passes to shooters in this game that really kept the Bucks on their heels, as both Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe had it going from beyond the arc. Lonzo finished with 20 points on 6 for 10 from three-point land, and Bledsoe had 16 points on 4 for 10 from 3. Those two combining for 10 three-pointers is definitely dangerous, and a lot of those looks were created by what Zion does as a shot creator. So overall, a great first half from Giannis, but in the second half he started to slow down a little bit. After starting 11 for 15, he went just 4 for 11 from there. And in the second half, he still had 10 points, but he just wasn't as effective as that first. And in the second half, the other Pelicans young star, Brandon Ingram, really took over that scoring load. B.I. got it going from the mid-range and knocked down a couple really difficult shots right in the face of Chris Middleton and Giannis and Dante and Pat Connaughton, whoever it was that was matched up with him on a particular possession. And he just seemed like he could not miss from that mid-range area. And there were a couple times where he was also able to get into the paint and knock down a little bit of a floater shot that I hadn't seen from him too much in the past. He shot 11 for 25 from the field, which is just 44%, but don't let that skew you in what you think about his scoring in this one, because that number is really thrown off by the fact that he just simply couldn't hit a three-point shot. He finally knocked one down in the waning part of the fourth quarter, but prior to that, he was 0 for 9 from three-point land. So on two-pointers, B.I. shot 10 for 15, which is 66%, and an excellent mark for a wing player such as Ingram. The three-point shots just weren't going in this one, and if they would have, the Bucks probably would have been in trouble. Overall, I'm impressed with the adjustments the Bucks made on the defensive end in the second half. Instead of allowing Williamson to work one-on-one against Brook Lopez, they really collapsed on him and forced him to make those difficult decisions when kicking the ball out. And while I do think Zion did make the right decisions, the shooters just weren't necessarily knocking them down. Josh Hart was just 2 for 6 from beyond the arc. J.J. Redick didn't hit his first three-pointer until late in the fourth quarter. And when that is happening, that's going to give the Pelicans opponent a chance to win. So this is the formula for beating the Pels, and the Bucks did a nice job with it in the second half. In the first half, I actually don't think that Brook did a half-bad job of matching up one-on-one with with Zion. It's just that Williamson has so much strength and agility and ability to score off the bounce that Brook just couldn't seem to slow him down. But overall, I think that this is a really solid win for the Bucks. I liked their fourth quarter execution down the stretch in Jrue Holiday's absence. With not having a true point guard out there, it makes it much more difficult. And I think that that makes this win all the more impressive for Milwaukee. Sunday's game against the Clippers is going to be an even more difficult test, and I am sure that they will need Jrue in order to really be able to come away with a win in that one. So hopefully Holiday's ready to play. Hopefully DJ Augustin is back on the court, as Bobby Portis did start in his absence in this one, largely for the matchup reasoning, so that they could put Portis on Steven Adams, Lopez on Williamson, and then Giannis on Lonzo Ball, so that he can be that roving help defender that he excels at. So yeah, hopefully DJ can be back. Congrats to him on the birth of his son. And I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover, so that is going to be it for me. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts were on this game. If you are a person who loves all things Bucks, be sure to subscribe. This is the place for you. Bucks fans, I'll see you all again very soon.